Okay, so photoelectric effect has some 4 important points. One, threshold frequency. You all understand the meaning of threshold frequency? It's the minimum frequency which is required for the ejection of electrons to take place. Then the second thing is that you have the kinetic energy which is directly proportional to the frequency of the incident radiation. Then you have that the number of ejected electrons will depend upon the intensity. So both these points were a violation of the earlier theories.
But before we begin, विजिट कीजिए iitwalebaba.com पे। यहाँ से आप फिजिक्स और मैथ्स के हैंड रिटन नोट परचेज कर सकते हैं अपने बोर्ड, जेई, बिटसेट या फिर किसी भी इंजीनियरिंग कॉम्पिटिटिव एग्जाम की प्रिपरेशन के लिए बहुत ही कम प्राइजेस में। डाउनलोड कीजिए IIT वाले बाबा ऐप फ्रॉम गूगल प्ले स्टोर और व्हाट्सएप ऑन अस 7974122749 फॉर मोर इन्फॉर्मेशन।
Now in electromagnetic spectrum, when I am talking about it, it corresponds to the different energy levels. You have different ranges of energies which are existent in the universe. And when you talk about the electromagnetic radiation, they are arranged, I am just arranging them in the order of, say, increasing wavelength. So the wavelength is increasing in this direction. And please learn it up because this is very important. You have cosmic rays, gamma rays, X-rays, cosmic rays, gamma rays, X-rays. You have UV, visible, IR, microwaves and radio waves. These are the ones which constitute your electromagnetic spectrum. Your wavelength is increasing in this direction. Wavelength has a particular value. And if you are given the wavelength, you can easily calculate the energy because this energy will also be equal to hc upon lambda. Right? This energy is also equal to hc upon lambda. H is a constant, c is also a constant. So here itself, if I have to calculate in terms of electron volts, let me tell you in terms of electron, if you have to calculate in terms of joules, you can use these values. If you have to calculate in terms of electron volts, this constant and this constant will be equal to 1240. 1240 upon lambda electron volts. So please remember this, that the energy is equal to 1240 upon lambda in electron volts. Now let me just talk about the wavelength here. For the visible special one, this is like 3800 to 7600. Now just understand one concept. Look up all of you all. I did talk about continuous energy levels which exist in your classical mechanics. I did talk about quantized energy levels which are a part of your quantum mechanics. Now when I am talking about the jumping of electron from one level to another level, I am talking about spectroscopy because I am talking about the energy required. Now say if the energy required falls in the wavelength region within this, if the energy that is required to jump from one level to another level for the electrons or the subatomic particles that we are seeing around us, it falls in this range of wavelength. There will be a certain amount of energy that it will require to jump up or go down, it will emit energy. That energy will correspond to one of these regions only, and according to that we will observe their spectra. According to that, like for example, if you observe whatever colors we can see around, what do you think is the energy that they are possessing? Whatever colors we can see, they are possessing the wavelength in between 3800 and 7600, right? 7600 in angstrom. So what we have is, this is like, it lies in 3800 and 7600. That is why visible range is the one that we can see from the naked eye. So you can observe the different colors of the rainbow. You must have seen the rainbow ever. Have you ever seen a rainbow? So in that you have the regions as VIBGYOR. I mean, you observe these colors. You observe all these colors. So violet corresponds to this wavelength and red corresponds to this wavelength. Did you get it? So anything that goes beyond the range of this color falls in IR, and if the wavelength is less than that of the violet color, it falls in UV and you will not be able to see it. Got it? So whatever colors you're observing around fall in this region. And what is that color due to? That is due to the jumping of these subatomic entities from one level to another level, primarily an electron. Clear with that? So here this is the range which talks about the increasing range of wavelength. So I'll just quickly put the values because they're given in the notes that I have. 0.01, 1, then X-rays is like 150, then you have 3800 to 7600, and this is like 6 into 10 to the power 6, and microwaves is like 3 into 10 to the power 9, and whatever goes beyond this region will be your radio waves. So which are the one which have the highest wavelength? Radio waves. Which are the one which have the lowest wavelength? And if I talk about the frequency will follow the opposite route. The frequency will go on decreasing. Here in this case, UV rays are harmful because they've been found to be penetrating inside our body to cause cancer. So that is why ultraviolet radiations, and they are generally absorbed by the ozone layer. So that's like another part of it. But here what we have is the electromagnetic spectrum. Clear with the electromagnetic spectrum? Let us all speak it up once. It's cosmic rays, gamma rays, X-rays, UV, visible, IR, microwave, radio waves. Say it again. Cosmic rays, gamma rays, X-rays, UV, visible, IR, microwaves, radio waves. One last time. Clear? So this is your total electromagnetic spectrum, and I hope that the meaning of the spectrum is like clear to you. So any energy which falls in this region will be observed in the X-ray region only, depending upon the energy which it corresponds to. Electron को jump करने के लिए it needs some energy from the lower level to the higher level, and that energy will decide in which region will you observe the spectra. So this is one concept. And then in spectrum, when we talk about spectrum, you can either have a continuous spectrum or you can have a discontinuous spectrum. What is a continuous spectrum now? Continuous spectrum is the spectrum that you observe from a prism. Prism, you all have seen a prism, or have you observed the rainbow in general? So there you get a continuous spectrum because that's like a range which can be just seen throughout. Violet, indigo, you will see all the colors in a range. So that is called a continuous spectrum. Discontinuous spectrum is the one, like for example, if you are heating a metal, say an element in a flame generally, then in that case, when you heat elements directly in the flame, then you see flashes of light appearing. That is because of the jumping from one level to another level, but it corresponds to some kind of a line spectra. That's called a line spectra, if you can understand that. It corresponds to a line spectra. So that means you will obtain jumping of an electron, so you will see a flash of light. Then after some time there will be another transition. This is called transition. Jumping of electron from one level to another level is called transition. It's change. Transition means a change. Change from one level to another. So this, so in discontinuous spectra, one example can be that of a line spectra, and that is generally seen when you heat up an element generally in the flame. You get some meaning of it from the top? Say yes if you understood. See, in spectra, sometimes you actually are getting discontinuous spectra means now you will not get. If you are getting, this is like your energy values, okay, and this is your intensity. Spectra is some kind of a plot that you observe. Say if one transition is occurring at this energy, the other may be occurring at the far end at some other energy. This is only a value. You getting? It's only a value. That value is just plotted. Say if it is very intense, it will be plotted like this. If it is less intense, it will be plotted, but it's appearing in breaks. And when you have a continuous spectra, the continuous spectrum goes like something like this, this. So it's like you are observing transition at each and every point of energy. Okay, and here for energy you have the line spectra. Clear with that? So you have a continuous spectrum as well as a discontinuous spectrum. Then for the Planck's theory of radiation, I have already put down all these formulae that needs to be revised again. You have the energy which is equal to h nu, and h is your Planck's constant, nu is your frequency. Remember the value of the Planck's constant, frequency to 6 into 10 power minus 34 joule second. Nu is your frequency which is equal to c by lambda. C is the speed of light and lambda is your wavelength. And remember, 1 upon wavelength can also be termed as your wave number. So you will require this information. Let's quickly take up a question. Find the ratio of the frequencies of light. Yes. Okay. You understood the spectra. You all have done one electromagnetic spectrum series. I have given you, what is that? Cosmic rays, gamma rays, X-rays, UV, visible, IR, microwaves and radio waves. So now in this case, this is the order of increasing wavelength and decreasing frequency. If wavelength is increasing, then you know of course frequency is, because they are inversely proportional. So here in this case, when I am talking about the jumping of electron from one level to another level, then I am saying that there may be some energy if my electron is jumping from one level to another level. Then it will correspond to say some energy difference. It will need energy to jump from lower level to another level, right? This jumping of electron, if it is taking continuously one after another, then when you check out the spectra, it will be like a continuous spectrum, first line, second line, third, and then you will have a continuous spectra altogether. And that is something when you observe a rainbow or the colors from coming out of a prism. They're like in continuation, violet, indigo, there's like no gap and they're like a continuous spectrum. But when I talk about the line spectrum, then in that case, if I talk about an atom or an element being burnt in a flame, then you see flashes of light. It has got nothing to do with the spectrum. When you plot the spectrum, then there is like a discontinuity. Then that means that if you're getting one transition at one point in time, the another transition may correspond to some other energy value. So continuous nahi hai na? They are like distinct from one another. So that is what is called as a line spectra. And this line spectra was the one that could not be explained by Rutherford, as well as Bohr could actually give some justification to it. Line spectra of hydrogen atom is what we will do. Quickly take up a question. I am asking you to find out the ratios of frequencies of frequency is like nu. I am asking you the ratio of frequency of violet light to that of red light. The question says that find out the ratio of frequencies of the violet light and red light when the wavelength of violet light is given to you as 4.1 into 10 to the power minus 5 centimeter, and the wavelength of red light is given as 6.56 into 10 to the power minus 5 centimeter. So you have to find out the ratios of the frequencies. You can easily do that. You know that your wavelength frequency is inversely proportional to wavelength. Frequency is inversely proportional to wavelength. So frequency of red light will be inversely proportional to the wavelength of red light. So that, or you can actually put it like, so therefore nu1 by nu2 will be equal to lambda 2 by lambda 1. They are inversely proportional. Clear? So if you're given the wavelengths, you can easily find it out. So the answer should be, it should be a ratio of 6.56 into 10 power minus 5 upon 4.1 into 10 to power minus 5. So that's like an easy thing that you can do, and that will be somewhere around the ratio that is given as 1.6:1. You can easily do the calculations later, just understand the concepts. You are given the ratios of the frequency and you are asked the ratio of the wavelengths, right? Then another question, just note it down. 100 watt power source emits green light of wavelength 5000 angstrom. So you are given 100 watt power source emits green light which has a wavelength of 5000 angstrom, how many photons are emitted per minute? So you have to talk about the number of photons emitted per minute. The number of photons emitted per minute. So how will you go about doing it? You know that E is equal to basically h nu, which is equal to hc by lambda, because I am given the lambda, that is equal to hc by lambda, right? Now here the energy that we have is say 5000, power into time is your energy, hope you remember, power into time is your energy, and that is equal to nh nu or n hc by lambda, because this n is the number of photons. This is your one photon and this n is your number of photons. So energy is equal to n into h nu, which is equal to n into hc by lambda. So here energy can be written as P into T, and then you have n is h into n hc by lambda. So your n will be equal to Pt lambda upon hc simply. That will be equal to Pt lambda upon hc. Just substitute the values and calculate the answer quickly. Power is equal to your 5000 into 10 to the power minus 10. Power is equal to 5000 into 10 power minus 10. And then you have your time that you will take will be how much? Is the time given in the question? 1 minute, because you're asked per minute. So 60 seconds. And then lambda is also given to you. Lambda is 5000 into 10 power minus 10. Power is 100, and you know h is equal to 6.626, and your c is 3 into 10 power 8. So what is the answer? Just a rough calculation, it will be around 1.5 into 10 to the power 22. It's like an easy question. All you need to do is remember the small tidbits and bits also that you've done before, because you're dealing with energy, so different formulae that relate the energy should also be remembered. You were asked the number of photons, so please remember the formula of energy as nh nu, which is hc by lambda. So if lambda is given, you can calculate energy. Now that power was given, you were supposed to just multiply it with time to get the energy in joules. Then we move on to the next concept of the photoelectric effect. I've already told you the history, so you know the importance of all these concepts. Remember that photoelectric effect is nothing but it is the phenomena of ejection of electrons from the metallic surface when light of certain frequency falls on it. Now there are some important points related to the photoelectric effect. In photoelectric effect, the very first thing, there has to be some minimum amount of frequency that has to be provided, and only after that frequency is provided you will have ejection of electrons, which is known as the concept of threshold frequency. If you are talking about frequency, means automatically threshold energy, because this frequency will again correspond to your energy. So either some books talk about threshold energy, some minimum amount of energy after which electrons will start getting ejected from the metallic surface, or some minimum frequency after which. It's like one and the same thing only. Why? Because you know frequency and energy are related to one another. Then the second thing is that that you need to remember is that the kinetic energy of ejected electrons, the kinetic energy of the ejected electrons is independent of intensity. Remember, it is independent of intensity Why am I specifically laying emphasis on it? Because it was actually found earlier that Maxwell's concept stated that the kinetic energy was dependent on it. So this was kind of a violation. So it was found here that the kinetic energy of the ejected electrons is nothing but it is independent of the intensity and is dependent upon what? And is directly proportional to the frequency of the incident radiation. The number of electrons ejected depend upon the intensity. The number of ejected electrons, they depend upon the intensity of the incident radiation. One last point for the photoelectric effect is that there should be no time lag between the incident radiation and the ejected electrons. There should be no scope of any time lag. Means that the moment the radiation hits the surface, there should be an ejection of electron instantaneously. Exactly at the same point in time, you should just have an ejection. The moment it strikes the surface, there should be an ejection of electron. Okay, so photoelectric effect has some 4 important points. One, threshold frequency. You all understand the meaning of threshold frequency? It's the minimum frequency which is required for the ejection of electrons to take place. Then the second thing is that you have the kinetic energy which is directly proportional to the frequency of the incident radiation. Then you have that the number of ejected electrons will depend upon the intensity. So both these points were a violation of the earlier theories. And then the fourth point was that there should be no time lag between the incident radiation and the ejected electrons. That is because it was like conditioned that the photoelectric effect is observed in that fashion only. That there should be no time lag, because if there is a time lag, then there may be other energies which will be creeping in. So you're just not talking about just the incident energy which is provided. Okay, now say there is like the total energy which is like provided, and you know some of it is getting converted to the kinetic energy of the ejected electrons, and there is some energy which will be left, and that energy is known as the work function. That energy is known as the work function. So what you have your this work function is again nothing but this equation is known as the Einstein photoelectric equation. This is the total energy that is provided. What was the total energy that we provided? That was h nu, where nu is your frequency which is either equal to or greater than the threshold frequency. Kinetic energy means half mv square, and your work function is the energy which is left over, which will again be directly proportional to the frequency only, and that is some h nu naught. I repeat it again. Here what we have is that the initial energy is equal to the kinetic energy plus the residual energy. This was like kind of, you can actually call it the work function because it is only after this energy has been utilized by the molecules that they are now getting ejected, and the electrons which are getting ejected also have some kinetic energy. So remember that this equation is important, and here you can write down kinetic energy therefore will be equal to h nu minus h nu naught, simple rearrangement, which will be equal to h into nu minus nu naught. This implies that half mv square is equal to h into nu minus nu naught. So quickly just revise the photoelectric effect once again. In photoelectric effect, what have we seen? In photoelectric effect, we are just revising this only. In photoelectric effect, we are talking about the ejection of electrons from the metal surface when a light of certain radiation falls on it. So the moment you think about photoelectric effect means it's talking about ejection of electrons, and those electrons, if they're getting ejected, have some kinetic energy also because they're moving out. Okay, So there are 4 important points. The first point is that of threshold frequency. That means that there needs to be some minimum amount of frequency or energy that needs to be provided, only after which there will be ejection of electrons. The second point states that now the kinetic energy of the ejected electrons, the energy with which the electrons are moving out, is directly proportional to the frequency of the incident radiation. Okay, they are dependent upon the frequency and not the intensity. The earlier classical mechanical theory stated, like for the electromagnetic radiations, was found that the kinetic energy was actually dependent upon the intensity, which was like now ruled out here. So you have the kinetic energy to be directly proportional to frequency, that you can actually linear dependence you can already see here. Then you have number of ejected electrons, as to how many electrons are directly proportional to the intensity. And the fourth one is like there should be no time lag between the incident radiation and the ejection of electrons, right? And then you know that the equation that will be formed from the photoelectric effect generally is that the total energy that you are providing will be equal to the kinetic energy plus some extra energy, which will be the work function, and that will be like h nu is equal to half mv square plus h nu naught. Clear with that? This nu naught may or may not be equal to the threshold frequency. Generally you can just say that some amount of frequency was, the energy was like used up by the molecules, by the electrons, and then they just used up that energy and they got ejected. So the totality, in totality, the total energy is nothing but equal to the total energy that was provided. This total energy is now, we rearrange the equation and we get that the kinetic energy is equal to h into nu minus nu naught. From here also you can see that the kinetic energy has a dependency on frequency itself. Okay, so we'll just see if we have any questions related. See, threshold frequency will be the frequency that we are actually initially providing. So that will be a part of the total energy only, because if on the metal surface, that should be greater than or equal to. एक minimum energy चाहिए. Say supposedly if I randomly talk of that I need some 100 joules of energy to pull you out. So अगर मेरे पास 80 joules of energy होगी, I will not be able to pull you out from the chair. But only if I have 100 joules or more, I will be able to replace you. Got it? Then you can just take up a question quickly. Calculate the velocity of electron. So you ask the velocity of electron. So just write down the unknowns quickly. From the platinum surface, whichever surface, it can be asked any surface, when radiation of 200 nanometer, so you given the wavelength, falls on it. I repeat, calculate the velocity of electron. Calculate the velocity of electron. So you ask the velocity of electron when you have the radiation, when it is ejected from the platinum surface, when radiation of 200 nanometers, falls on it, and the work function is given to you. The work function means you are given h nu naught of the platinum surface, which is equal to 5 electron volts. Work function is equal to 5 electron volts, and here itself I'd like you to remind you of the conversion that 1 electron volts is equal to 1.6 into 10 to the power minus 19 joules. Okay, you have to solve this question. So now using the Einstein's photoelectric effect, here we have that total energy will be equal to kinetic energy plus the work function, right? Now what is your total energy? The total energy is equal to hc by lambda, that's h nu. We are given lambda, that is why I am taking lambda. The lambda is given as 200 nanometers. Now because I have this in electron volt, I have an easy formula for electron volts. What was that? 1240 divided by lambda. So I can actually use that here. 1240 divided by 200. That is like a quicker method. 1240 divided by 200, and that will be equal to, you can easily see that, 6.2 electron volts. This work function, so I calculated the initial energy because I was given the wavelength. I repeat the question once again. The question states that calculate the velocity of electron ejected from the platinum surface when radiation of 200 nanometers falls on it. So this 200 nanometer talks about the incident radiation. So that is the energy that is supplied. So this energy of 200 nanometers is used to calculate the total energy, which is equal to 6.2 electron volts. This is clear to everyone, and we have been given the work function. So from here, now what do we have to do? We are given the work function. We have to calculate the velocity. Velocity is contained in which formula? Kinetic energy. So that is equal to half mv square, and we know that that is equal to h nu minus h nu naught. That means the initial energy, sorry, I'll put it like this, otherwise you'll get confused. This is the initial energy minus the work function. What is the initial energy we've calculated? That is 6.2, right? That is 6.2 minus 6.2 minus 5 electron volts. Now when you've simplified, you can easily convert it into joules also. How will you convert it into joules? 1.2 into 1.6 into 10 to the power minus 19 coulombs, and you know that that will be 12.6. So you have 72, and then you have 1.94 into 10 to the power minus 19 joules. And from here you can easily calculate velocity, that will be equal to under root of twice of kinetic energy divided by m. And what is the mass of an electron? Twice of kinetic energy means twice of 1.94 into 10 to the power minus 19 joules divided by m, which is 9.31 into 10 to the power minus 31. Just substitute the values and quickly solve it. I repeat this question again. We were given the wavelength of the incident radiation onto the platinum surface, and we were asked for the velocity when the work function was provided to us. Work function was given in electron volts, so simple for us. We can easily calculate the initial energy by the formula hc by lambda, that is 1240 divided by lambda, and we calculate our initial energy. Once the initial energy is calculated, I know this now, that is 6.2 electron volt. I know the work function which is given to me, that is 5 electron volts. So I can calculate the kinetic energy. What is my kinetic energy? It is total energy minus the work function, that is 1.2 electron volts. 1 electron volt is equal to 1.6 into 10 to the power minus 19 coulombs. So you can easily convert it, and this joules, joules, to convert it into joules, I'm sorry, that is 1.6 into 10 power minus 19 joules, and you will get the final answer from electron volts and joules by multiplying both of them. And now you know that velocity can be related to the kinetic energy, and velocity is equal to under root of 2 ke by m. This was a simple application of Einstein's photoelectric effect. We can, I think, take one more example.